Don't forget to talk about the podcast.
All right, so here's our podcast. So these are two of the best podcasts I'm aware of for social media training and real estate training. So my podcast is Real Estate Marketing Show. You can go to realestatemarketingshow.com, and I think we have about 16 or 17, something like that, with plenty more to come for real estate training. When you go there, the top 10, in my opinion, are on the right side. It goes 1 through 10. You could pick those, and don't ever forget the social podcast that Deanna does. Tell us a little bit about your podcast, because I don't know how to describe it, and I don't want to disturb you.
So we started the Social Life podcast, me and the co-founder here of Stark Social Media. We started deciding people were always calling us and asking us questions, and we started having a lot of these phone conversations with people. So we figured, why not take all those topics and put them into a podcast? So we cover everything from, what's hot with Twitter, what's going on with Facebook's new algorithm, to, how to handle Yelp if you're a brick and mortar business or you're dealing with bad reviews. We have a lot of really cool guests on there, elite Yelpers and things of that nature. So check it out. You can go to thesociallifepodcast.com to subscribe or learn more.
Perfect. I love it. All right, so let's talk a little bit about today's webinar. I know we got a lot of people on this ready to dive in. I wanted to say, for those of you that are kind of new to social media, you're going to want to go back to that Stark and Home Smart 10-week social media series. Pick up the last group of webinars that we did. We talk about Facebook Personal, Facebook for Business, but this particular webinar, based on feedback we got last time, it's a little bit more advanced. So if we blow your mind, it's okay. Make sure you record and listen to this one, but go back and check out the beginner ones, because we're going to jump right into Facebook ads. And if you don't understand the basic principles of Facebook, you got to go back. All right, Deanna, I think this is about where you take over and shine.
Me. So we are, so based on feedback from the last couple of webinars that we did, and those are available in that Stark and Home Smart 10-week webinar series. They're the pinned post right now. And after we're done with this one will be up as well, so never fear. And as always, if you have questions, feel free to message me on Facebook, send me an email, etc., etc. So today we are talking about Facebook ads, and there are a lot of really great ways that you can utilize Facebook advertising without having to spend a lot of money. That's the big question I always get when people are asking me. They're kind of gun shy about, I don't want to spend a lot, and Facebook, it doesn't seem, I always seem to get the same people liking my ads or my boosted posts. How do I fix that? So these are some really great tips that I have come across, and they're the things that I always work through whenever I'm training somebody, whether it's one-on-one or doing a webinar like this. So tip number 1 is create a tracking pixel, and this one, I think we're likely to agree, is going to make some heads just go like, what?
Yeah, already. Pixels.
This is something that it's code that you put on your website to make sure that you're tracking your results. You want to make sure, no matter what you're doing, where you're advertising, whether it's Facebook, Google, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, that you're tracking your results. So if you're advertising and you're not tracking to see how much those cost per engagement is, then you're never going to really know what the return on your investment is for the ads. So when you're in your Facebook Ads Manager, there's a bunch of tools on this toolbar that's on the left-hand side. And if you go to Tools in the drop-down menu, there's a bunch of really cool different things that you can check out. To create your pixel, and this is what it ends up being ultimately, is it's a code that you stick into the header of your website. Now, if you have a website, you've likely added Google Analytics to it. Maybe you've got your Google AdWords stuff going on that. This is all going to go in that same area. And if your mind is just totally blown and you're not sure, you can always message me about it. If you have someone who helped you design or create a website, I would get in touch with them and ask them to help. What's really cool is Facebook allows you to, and you'll see right here, Facebook allows you to email the pixel code. So you can email it to yourself and then forward it on to whoever the webmaster is for your company and ask them for help. Or if there's somebody who put together a WordPress site, I know that there's other different web builders out there that allow you to add these types of things in widgets. So it just takes a little bit of research to figure out how to get it done. But this is what I do when I'm working with any client, even if we didn't build their website, or I'm not doing their SEO, or I'm not managing anything on the web for them other than Facebook or social media. You want to make sure that you've got this code in there, because that's going to detail for you a lot more accurately where your spend is going, how much your click-throughs are costing you, how many impressions you're getting, and what that return is. And really, this is all about maximizing our marketing budget so that we're not spending money on things that don't work.
Jana, sorry to interrupt as always, but is that also the pixel that you would use for Facebook retargeting ads?
Yes, so that's the same thing. Facebook has changed it. So you used to have to create one pixel, and it was just fantastic and awesome, but you can now create different types of conversion goals and things like that using the pixel. So yes, it's absolutely the same thing.
All right. I know Julie's on this webinar, and she has a class today at the office. So you guys, when you get to Julie's class, make sure you have her teach you all about this. Put that right in your website.
You're so mean. Tip number 2 is develop a value proposition. So this is the question I get a lot. I put together, I think this was something that came through, and this is why I added this. I had somebody who emailed me and said, I put together an ad and nobody clicked on it. And when we reviewed their ads together to see where they had gone wrong, what the issue was, is there was no value proposition. So there was nothing that was clearly being offered. So even if they had something fantastic on their website or a landing page, you couldn't tell from the ad. So when Mike and I develop ads for Stark and for HomeSmart, we make sure that the value proposition is very clear and it's very concise. And whether you're doing it in the image like we have here on the right, it's obvious this was a promotion that was being run. Sign up today and enjoy no fees. That was a promotion. We wanted to make it.
If you guys are not HomeSmart agents, I will honor that ad today and today only. So join up today.
Oh, fancy. So obviously, we've got on the left here the Stark and HomeSmart webinar series. You want to make sure that your value proposition is clear. It's okay to use caps lock on certain things, so don't miss out on this no cost, major amount. You want to really call out the things that are really, really important. So you want to make sure that you're not capitalizing the entire ad, but you're making it clear by capitalizing certain things that those are the important call outs, those are the calls to action, that's your value proposition. I am giving you this if you click here and you sign up or you learn more. So you really want to make sure that your value proposition in every ad that you're putting together is clear and concise and makes sense. Let's move forward. Select a daily budget. Okay, so what I like to do is Facebook gives you this how much do you want to spend section when you're developing your ad. Well, I like to put together a daily budget and then set a start and an end date so that I can test exactly how successful the ad was. And we're going to talk about A/B testing a little bit later, but A/B testing really is just I've got ad A and I've got ad B, and I'm going to make a few tweaks and changes, and I'll show you what that looks like and how we do it. But if you want to test and see what's going to be the most successful, you want to create yourself a daily budget. It can be $5 a day for 3 days, and then you've spent $15, $30 if you're running 2 different ads, $20 if you do it for a weekend. And then you want to make sure that you're using link clicks to your website. I've seen a few people who have switched it to impressions. You really want to let Facebook utilize their algorithm and what people are searching for to maximize your dollar spend. Impressions means people are seeing it. That doesn't necessarily mean that those are the right people to see it. So you want to make sure that you're optimizing for what your end goal is. And ultimately, we want to build that sales funnel. We want email into our list. So we want to make sure that we're optimizing specifically for what we want. So daily budget, and then you'll notice over here, the daily budget impacts your estimated daily reach. So this all plays into what we're going to talk about in the next few slides when we're developing our audience. So this is an estimate, so it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to hit 3,400 to 8,900 people, but that is ultimately the amount of people that could potentially click through and see what it is you're offering in your value proposition, what you're advertising for. So
Deanna,
these are the two things. Yes.
sorry. Where do you upload your list to in Facebook if you want to market to those people?
I'm not there yet, Mike.
Oh, we have
Hold
it?
your
Okay, good. Oh, this is going to be the best webinar ever.
hold your horses, man.
I'm
I'm
so
almost there.
excited. Okay.
I'm almost there. I'm going to take your mic away very soon.
No, out of control.
Okay. All right. Well, I
Okay,
can
I'll go
take
back
that.
on mute. Bye.
Bye. So these are the two things that I definitely recommend to help avoid spending too much money. Limit your budget, know what you want to spend every month, and then make sure that you're spending it appropriately on the different kinds of ads. Because what you're going to find out is that very quickly you're spending a lot of money and you're advertising to people who may or may not be interested in what you're offering. So if you're looking to sell more homes, if you're looking to add emails to your sales funnel in terms of you want that list to drip market to about open houses, you want leads for homes for sale. These are the types of things that we're going to talk about when we talk about audience in a few slides. But this is the best way to maximize your budget in terms of spend. Moving forward, tip number 4. So this is something everybody always asks me, and I'll put this in the description. These things always end up on the Stark Social blog. So this is a link to Facebook has now created all these different tools. It's basically a business manager type tool. So based on your objectives, and you'll see those on the left-hand side, clicks to website, website conversions, page post engagement, page likes, they have created tools for you that help you see what your image is going to look like before it's created. So this is a really neat tool, and it shows you what the desktop feed looks like, what the mobile news feed looks like, and you want to make sure that you're utilizing the right size image for the right type of advertisement. A lot of times what happens is people will just sort of make the same size, and then it hangs off to one side, or things are cut off, or if you have text included, then it ends up looking wonky and sideways. So this is one of the most important things. So just make sure that you're using the right size image. And in one of the previous trainings, we talked about the 20% rule in terms of text. So you have to make sure that you have 20% or less text if you're using an image that's going to have a call to action in it. So make sure that you're aware of that and that you're utilizing that appropriately. This is all here. This I pulled off of the Facebook website, and it was a tiny little box. So these are the recommended image sizes. So I stretched it a little bit, so there it is. But definitely make sure that you're using bright, colorful, powerful images that are the right size. Now this gets into the stuff that Mike was asking about. This is tip number 5, and I've actually, I think, got like 4 slides for this tip, because developing audience profiles is really, really, really important. You're not going to advertise to a buyer the same way that you would advertise to a seller. If you're recruiting for your office, you're not going to advertise to potential agents the same way you would to buyers and sellers. So you want to make sure that you have your audience dialed in very specifically. One of the things that Facebook has developed, going back to this screen of the Facebook ads, you manage your ad portal right here. Back on tools, there's this new tool that Facebook launched, and they didn't announce it. They didn't say anything fancy about it. They sent an email to people who are signed up as registered marketers. But there's this new tool in your Facebook Ads Manager under Tools called Audience Insights. And this is a new way to develop audiences based on the things that Facebook uses to advertise to people. So if you're searching for mattresses and then you go to Facebook and you've all of a sudden got like Sealy Posturepedic all up and down the right column, these are the kinds of things that Facebook utilizes to make sure that the right audience is getting the right advertising. So you can create, I would definitely recommend, if you haven't yet played with this tool, schedule yourself 15-20 minutes to play with this tool and create yourself some custom audiences. Learn about the different types of behaviors and households and the way that people purchase things. This is a great tool. I played with it a bunch, but there's still a lot of people who prefer to create their audience once they're in the ad, and that's totally cool. So we're going to talk about that right now too. So there are ways to create custom audiences. So the screen behind this pop-up here is who do you want your ads to reach? And this is really, really, really important. So we have 3 different options here. And you'll notice what it says: reach people who have a relationship with your business, whether they're existing customers or people who have interacted with your business on Facebook or other platforms. So you can do this based on customer list. So this is where, Mike, you were asking, how do I upload, where do I upload? When you click on this, it opens up a box for you to upload an Excel or a CSV file if you're utilizing any other type of like mail tool like Constant Contact or something like that. You can download your customer list, or you can download people who have bought from you, and you can upload it here to create a custom audience that will target those people by matching emails, phone numbers, Facebook user IDs, etc., etc.
Deanna, so is Facebook smart enough to know, let's say I have Mike at SantaClaritaRealEstate.com that I log in to Facebook with, but I also
Right.
have Mike Bjorkman at me.com, which is a web email address I use elsewhere. Is Facebook smart enough to match those two together? Because it says based on other platforms, does it merge you with databases? Or if you're not using that website or that email address, will it not contact you?
Well, what it does is it depends on how much content, how much information you have. So, for example, I have a client who had like 12,000 emails that they had collected over time, and they were doing nothing with them. So we uploaded those, and basically what Facebook does is it says, here's all of the people on this email list that are currently on Facebook. And I think we had like 30% of them were matched with the emails. But then it said it matched phone numbers. So if you have a phone number or an address or a location, it also takes into account those things when you're uploading your customer list, which is really cool.
So pro tip would be to put as much garbage in your CSV file as possible.
Right, right. So a lot of people, what they're doing when they're collecting emails is you're just strictly collecting, you know, first name, last name, email. You want to, when you're collecting emails, find a creative way or do it creatively and say, you know, I want to send you something for free. At least give me your like city and state. You know, you can add those things. Or like to better advertise to you or to better offer you services, I'd like to know your location. But one of the things that's really important in terms of you know, creating that custom audience is you upload a file, you can copy and paste your customer list, or one of the things that I absolutely love about this, because I use MailChimp religiously, is you can import from MailChimp. So if you're utilizing MailChimp to drip market to your customers, so you're sending them emails, email reminders about trainings, classes, specials, whatever it is you're doing, you can utilize MailChimp. Now has a relationship with Facebook. So hello, that makes life a lot easier. So if you're using MailChimp, I hear that they're also trying to create relationships with other third-party email services, but it's probably going to be slow and steady. MailChimp is the most, you know, API friendly in terms of they want to play with everyone. So if you're looking for a tool to help you manage your email campaigns, MailChimp is a good one because it goes with GoToWebinar, it goes with Facebook, it goes with pretty much everybody. The other thing is website traffic. So this is, everybody talks about retargeting. So I want to retarget my advertisement. I want to make an audience that is retargeted. So what this does, retargeting is basically anybody who has visited my website, you can do that. So what I've done for specific ads, when I'm doing, let's say, a special, I will select anyone who has visited starksocial.com, and it's going to match those people based on those specific rules. You can also do people who visit specific web pages. So if you have somebody who is constantly, let's say you're offering a special, like HomeSmart did, where we've got until the end of whatever it was, April or February. And though you've had a lot of people visit that specific sign-up page, but they haven't yet converted. So you can retarget to those people by creating a specific audience that goes just to those people who have visited your website. And then there's a couple different things. You can also create custom combinations of these. So this is something to think about and play around with in terms of you want to make sure you're advertising to the best possible audience. So retargeting, using that customer list. If you have email, if you have an app, they also have one for app activity, so you can connect those two APIs, but I'm not sure how many app people we have on the phone on the webinar quite yet. But you definitely want to make sure that you're taking advantage of as many of these different types of custom audiences that you possibly can. You can have as many audiences as you want to. You can have multiple audiences for one specific client based on the activity, based on who their clients are, based on the age ranges. I think we have like 15 different audiences. So it's definitely not one of those things where you have to limit yourself and say, well, I already have this one audience, so I think I'm good. Step outside the box, advertise to different types of people, and see what you get and what you get from it. The other thing to think about is when you're developing an audience is location. Location is the next step when you're going through developing your ad, when you're doing it organically through the back end of your ads manager. So what I've noted is a lot of people who I come in and I help clean up their advertising is they tend to just do everyone in this location. Well, that's not helpful because everyone in this location might not be thinking of selling a home. Maybe there's specific neighborhoods that you're looking at in your area that you want to exclude. So, for example, here in the Santa Clarita area, if you're looking to advertise to sell or to get leads for sales for luxury properties, let's say, there are specific zip codes you might want to exclude because they're not considered luxury property. Maybe you're finding that you're not getting a good response from certain areas. Maybe you want to, you've already marketed a lot to a specific neighborhood, so you're going to exclude it. Or you want to include a bunch of different neighborhoods. And this is really important because this just dials in the number of people that will see your ads. It also helps you to make sure that you're advertising to the right areas. What happens when you advertise to everyone in this location with every age range and every gender is that then you're missing out. Yes, your numbers are going to be exorbitant. You're going to see a lot of click-throughs because people are curious. They're like, what is that? But you're not necessarily going to reach the right people. You're going to spend more money than you want to on what ends up being dead ends in terms of sales and transactions. So definitely make sure that you're playing around with the locations. Also the age ranges. If there's a specific gender and age that you want to target, maybe you're looking for, you're looking for buyers specifically because you have a ton of inventory, you need to get rid of it. Well, there's a specific type of buyer you're looking for. You can advertise to that specific type of buyer, a specific type of seller, and you can say this is the age range I'm looking for. I'm looking for, the millennial audience of buyer who is, out of college, making this much money, and they speak this many languages. There's a lot that you can do with developing audiences that is so helpful in terms of your ad spend. So make sure that you're paying attention to the location. And you can have audiences that are based around specifically just around location and age and gender and language and all these other things. The fun stuff that I love really comes down to the next our last slide for developing audience profiles. So you want to do what's called detailed targeting. So Facebook continues to add different ways that you can do detailed targeting. And this one here that I have here a screen of is connections. So this is Facebook pages. They give you 3 different options: people who like your page, friends of people who like your page, and exclude people who like your page. Now, why this is important to think about is if you are looking to attract people to your page, your Facebook page, you're looking to build your likes, you're looking to increase engagement on your page, you don't want to advertise to people who already like your page. So you want to make sure that you're picking the right connection type or the right audience type. And this is really important. So I do this a lot when I'm looking to increase the likes on a Facebook page. I'll do people who like your page for certain things, or friends of people who like your page, and exclude people who like my page if I'm looking to increase likes. So there's a tip there. There's also events. So what I do when I'm targeting specific events, like for example with this webinar series, I made sure to advertise it to people who hadn't already RSVP'd for the event, so that my ad spend is on people who are not yet participating in the event.
How would we do an open house event? I think all the agents, we're promoting our open houses, but we're not actually creating events, and that's really important for agents to do.
Oh yeah, well on the Facebook page, if you have a Facebook page, you can create an event just going into like when you're going to post, and it'll give you the option to create a regular post or create an event. And then you can boost that event, and you can do detailed targeting based on, what we're talking about here. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and then we should do it the same way. So geographically, we promote it. If we're going for, say, other sellers in that neighborhood, we can go after that particular zip code too to say, hey, Mike Bjorkman's doing an open house. He created an event, and they're going to be able to see that and say, wow, he's really doing his job. So I might consider hiring him too.
Right, exactly. And all these things are important for, I think people shy away from creating Facebook events for their open houses, but you shouldn't, because what that does is, if anything, even if people aren't RSVPing on your Facebook event and saying, yes, I'm going, what it does is it shows the potential client that you go above and beyond. And that's really what's important in terms of the potential leads that you can get from the marketing that you're doing, and raising the awareness about the open house or the broker open or whatever it is that you're doing, whatever event you have. You want to make sure that that's your, I say that your website is your resume in terms of, when clients are looking for you, and your social media is your references. So people are looking to your Facebook page, your Twitter, especially if you're a real estate agent, and especially with how much in the media, in terms of like all the different expert blogs and things like that, they're saying how important Facebook is and how important social media is. You really want to make sure that your presence is as optimized as possible so people can see how awesome you're doing. Yes. All right. So let's go to detailed targeting. And this is probably one of my favorite things that Facebook keeps improving on in terms of advertising. Here you have demographics, interests, behaviors, and then there's more categories. One of the things that has continued to make it my life easier for advertising for real estate agents is this little puppy right here. You can create residential profiles. Basically, you can determine, you can advertise based on how likely someone is to move, if they're a new mover, if they've recently bought a home, or if they're a recent mortgage borrower. So this is, I love this. You can also do things, if you look down here, based on seasonal events and travel, length of residence. This is literally the key to advertising and marketing and not spending more money than you need to, because you can advertise specifically to people who are likely to move. So if you're advertising, your advertisements, whatever you're putting on Facebook, is going to people who they're looking at homes, they're searching for real estate agents on Facebook. Maybe they continue to Google real estate agent Santa Clarita or home buying tips. These people, those things all go into Facebook's fancy algorithm, and that algorithm puts them in a category. And all of these different categories, these demographics, these interests and behaviors can help you advertise more efficiently to people who are actually looking for the services that you're offering. So this is where I say you can create as many audiences as you want to. I definitely recommend when you're playing around with building an audience or starting to advertise on Facebook or starting over, because I do that all the time. I'll go and this is not working, let's delete this and move on. But create multiple audiences, create buyer audiences, create seller profiles, create other, you can market yourself to other real estate agents. You can market your listings to other agents for, open houses and things like that. These kinds of things are really important because you want to make sure that every single audience that you're paying out money to advertise for is going to, in some way, give you a return on your investment. It could mean 1 or 2 leads trickle in at first, but I think what we've seen with Mike and how successful his social media has been, you basically, you can step in and say, but you've done a lot of business off of social.
Yeah, and I probably should have started the webinar with that because there's, hundreds of people that we don't know on here. So for those of you that don't know me, I track about $500,000 in commissions a year from Facebook alone. So that's why I take this so seriously. And I'll be honest, because everybody knows I'm honest. I only do about 60% of what we're talking about here. So I think we'll revamp our Facebook advertising and really get specific on this. How many different platforms give you the ability to click likely to move? It's like, what do you call it? Fishing in a barrel with a shotgun or whatever you call that. It's stupid not to click on these buttons. Man.
Well, it's amazing to me because, as I'm constantly learning, and Facebook is always having these webinars and these trainings where we can improve. Obviously, as a marketer, I can improve. But one of the things that I love is that they're always showing us the statistics. And, 85% of people who are searching to buy a home are looking to Facebook to see if their real estate agent has an active Facebook page. That's 85% of people who are potentially looking to buy or sell a home. So you really have to think about the statistics in terms of, if I'm not doing these things on Facebook, what is the end result not going to be? The only thing that you're going to lose is, what you don't already have. So it's best to just move forward, create these audiences, develop these really great profiles, and start to really gather that data. Those email lists are so, so important. I think that one of the things that I've come across is there are a lot of people who get contact information, but you don't have an email address. Those email addresses really are the bread and butter of drip marketing and following up and making sure that you're starting those conversations with the people who are likely to move. So these are all my favorite fun tips, and I have a couple bonus tips to share with you. So you want to split test ad conversions. So what I've done here is I've got 2 samples of the same, it's going to the same landing page. It's got the same text. It's got the same information. It's actually a handout for today's webinar. You've got it there. But we've got 2 different images. One is just the cover, and one is my favorite Strong Arm Girl with the free 50 social media pro tips download text on the image. So this is a really easy and basic way to split test. And what that is you've got image A, you've got advertisement A, and you've got advertisement B. And you will likely choose the same audience to advertise these to. So pick the same audience to advertise them to. Pick your daily budget, decide you're going to run it over a 4-day period of time, do them back to back, and then see which one is more successful. what that specific audience is more attracted to. Because the thing is we all have branding, we all have, our logos, we all have our specific style of what we've put together to represent our business. But you have to sometimes step outside of what is your business branding and try things just to see what your audience is looking for. And your audience could be buyers and sellers. It could be other real estate agents who are looking to emulate and copy what you're doing. So you really want to make sure that you're thinking about what you're doing in terms of the A/B testing. I like to put together a spreadsheet, or you could even just write it down in a notebook and decide or put together. Mike and I have always talked about in our trainings this social media calendar. And then you can mark off specific days. So if you're going to do like an Easter special, if you're going to run a special promotion, if you've got an open house, these are the types of things that you can test with your audience and see which images or which text performs better. So you want to make sure that you're split testing and you're seeing what resonates better with the people that you're advertising to. Is it bright and colorful imagery with a little bit of text? Or is it just straightforward, this is what I'm giving you and this is what you're getting? So actually, both of these ads that we ran ended up being very successful, but with different audiences, different age groups, different locations.
I was
So
just going to ask that. Can you tell us the results on this? Because to
yeah.
me,
So
both ads are really crisp, really clean, really clear, but they're very different. So I was dying to know how that worked.
yeah. So the one on the left actually performed really well with business owners. So we target marketed specifically to business owners and people who were in specific zip codes that are new business owners, small business owners, nonprofits. This resonated really well with those types of people. And the one on the right actually resonated really well with an age range of younger people who were looking for marketing tips and information. So two different audiences, really successful in their own right, but that's how we figure out, okay, if I'm going to market to marketers who, could potentially bring me leads and information, I need to do really bright colors that pop with little information, and it's very direct and it's very strong. But if I'm looking to attract business owners or people who might be looking to hire somebody to help them with their website or their marketing, then I need to do something that's a little more straightforward in terms of this is what you get. So you really want to play around with those pictures because, you really never know who's going to respond to what until you try. So I like to put together a spreadsheet of what my ads are, what the image is, a little description, what dates I'm going to run them, what my spend is going to be, if I'm going to put $50 on a weekend or $20 on a weekend. And then in the end, once you're done running your ad, Facebook gives you all that information. So what your conversions were, how many impressions you got, how many click-throughs, and then you can start to compare and contrast. And I would say give yourself a good month of advertising before you decide, I just don't know what I'm doing. But this is a really great way to figure out who your audiences are, and then you can specifically target market to people in a way that they're going to find appealing. And it ends up being so good to know who's what and who wants what, so then you're not constantly reinventing the wheel. And the last one, I get a lot of questions about dark ads. So just a really quick tutorial and run through, and then I think if we have questions or comments or concerns, we can go over those. But so dark ads. A dark ad is something that is very much like a page post. So what you would post on your Facebook ad, on your Facebook page, excuse me, but it does not appear in the feed of your Facebook page. So when you go to your Facebook page, if you go to Stark Social on Facebook, it wouldn't show up, but you can use an extensive amount of text. And it's basically like the HomeSmart and Stark ads I showed earlier on in the webinar. You can add a ton of text. You can do calls to action. You can do a bunch of things. You can put together. You can add an image. But what you really want to do with those dark ads is you really want to test those out with different markets. So just like we've been talking about creating custom audiences, really, really, really important to create variations on that dark ad or that page post that isn't going to show up, and then market it to different audiences and see who responds to what. But you're going to do this the easiest way, and I know you can do it in Ads Manager, but it starts to get tricky to figure it out. So this is the easiest way that I've explained it to people, and people understand it. So from your Ads Manager, you're going to go to Power Editor. And this is really simple and straightforward and makes my life a lot easier. You can go to Power Editor, and then on that toolbar there, you've got Manage Ads, Audiences, Image Library, Reporting, Page Posts. You want to click on Page Posts, and then over here in the right corner, it's going to say Create Post. Once you've tapped on that, you're going to get this pop-up that says Create Unpublished Page Posts. And there are a few different kinds of unpublished page posts that you can do. There's the basic link to something where you can create a call to action button. I definitely recommend that if you have a sign up or you're giving them a free offer, you want to learn more, or a sign up call to action. In the post text area, you can type as much stuff as you want, just like you would with a page post. But what I recommend is editing that and making it really sharp in like Word or Pages if you're a Mac person. Make sure that you've got your grammar correct, your spelling is correct, your punctuation is correct, and then you can copy and paste that over and adjust it how you need to. Your URL is just wherever you're sending them to. The link headline would be, for example, on that HomeSmart or the Stark posts. You know, it's for HomeSmart, we used Make the Smart Move. Your display link. So what this means is, even if this is a landing page that says, let's say you use lead pages like we do, stark.leadpages.com/yada yada yada, whatever it is, you can change what the display link says here. So I could change it to starksocial.com, homesmartncg.com, and then the description would be, what is it? So for this specific training, when I did the page post, it was join us for a free webinar series that helps make the most out of your social media. And then you can either import images from your website, which is great if you have great images, but if you have, let's say, you haven't yet set up a featured image on your web page or whatever it is that you're sending it to, I would just go to Upload Images. And we've talked about Canva in the past, canva.com. You can actually just click on, they have a template for Facebook ad. And it's actually, they're all set up so that you can follow the 20% text rule or just get rid of the text altogether. The other cool thing about Facebook is that they've also created access to stock images. So if you're paying for ads, they give you free pictures. So that's one thing also to think about as well. And then you want to make sure that this post will only be used as an ad. So you don't want it to be published on your page. You just want it to be an ad. The other things that you can do are these really beautiful carousel ads. I think I actually shared one in the 10-week series that Facebook had done. It was really cute. They had a bunch of neat things. Just a photo, a video, or an offer. So those things are all very different in terms of what the goal is, but I generally always just use link because I can set it up the way that I want to and it looks really pretty. I've also done video, which is really cool. So if you have a great video that you want to, maybe you're selling a specific, you've got an open house that's coming up and you've got a great video of the interior of a home, you can do that one as well. So you want to play around with these a little bit and see what you can put together. And then when you go back to, so once you've done this, you've created your post, you've saved it, when you go back to your Facebook Ads Manager and you have gone through the steps of selecting click to website, here's where I want it to go, this is what I want it to do, it's going to take you to the option where it says choose Ad Creative. And basically that's that section where it says, do you want a picture, do you want this, do you want that? You want to select Use Existing Post. And that will then give you a list of all of your current posts even the one that you've just created in Power Editor, and when you select that, it just auto-populates everything for you, and you can click Create Ad. So that is the easiest way in terms of creating a dark ad. If you need more in-depth directions or you have a question, don't hesitate to message me or post them in the Facebook group. You can definitely do that. I think that I have covered everything. Now go have a beer, because I like the beer and the boot girl. She's perfect.
All right, I'm back off mute. So,
Question.
yeah, what I want to do is send you a link. I'm sending it to you right now. And maybe we can take a link that I'm sending you that I have sent you, and you could show us how to go on Facebook and create an ad with the link. That link I sent you is a YouTube video. Does that work?
Let me. Where'd you send it to? Did
Your
you
email.
text me?
No, your email, yeah.
Okay. But just really quick, if you guys have questions and you want to send me an email, here's my email, Deanna@StarkSocial. At Stark Social Facebook. So what do you specifically want to do with this, sir?
Well, go to Team Bjorkman, and this is a new YouTube video we did. Normally, we would upload video directly, but I wanted to just show our audience how we would do one.
So is this a link, or did you upload the video?
It's a link to a YouTube video.
La la la.
This is pretty cool. We got a lot of people getting to learn how to do an ad live.
Okay. So what kind of ad do we want to do? Do we want to do a dark post? Do we want to do...
Nope, let's do a live post.
Okay. All right, so let's go to...
All right, and while we're talking, or while she's doing that, do you guys all see the 50 pro tips for winning at social media that Deanna graciously gave to us for free in the handout section? Make sure you download that and check that out, and we totally thank you for that, by the way, Deanna.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no problem. So here we are. We have choose your campaign objective. Okay. So we have a video. Okay. We want to get video views. So we're going to select that. So we want to choose the page, enter the URL. Okay. So you're going to take your URL and you're going to stick it in here. Clicks to website. All right, let's go back down here. Share. La da da. That's because I don't have your YouTube connected to this. All right, so we're gonna do.
So again, you guys, when you do this normally, you would upload the video directly to Facebook. Facebook does not like when you use other video links as much as when you upload it directly.
Yeah, so you want that. If you're going to do a specific boost of a video from your Facebook page, you can always create a Facebook video section, and that could be a whole other training. So we're going to go to set audience and budget. Okay. So what I was talking about before is obviously we don't want to select everyone in this location. So we want to select specific neighborhoods. So let's say we want to put in Santa Clarita. And then what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're looking at the biggest potential radius. So what you'll notice here is just by doing Santa Clarita, ooh, I have not had enough coffee yet this morning. What you're noticing is that you're getting this huge radius of people from all these different areas. And this is where it comes into you want to exclude. So maybe you want to exclude people from, I don't know, give me an area, Mike.
Let's exclude, where do we have up there? Let's exclude Palmdale.
Okay, so you want to exclude Palmdale, California. So what you'll notice when you're excluding is that it's going to drop the pin right where we've just said we want to exclude it. So everybody that's around this area is going to see it, anybody within this specific radius. So if I want to change this to 10 miles, you'll see the pin and
Yeah.
then the
Yeah,
radius
let's leave it
around
at
it.
10 miles like that.
Yeah, so that is smaller. So then what you're doing, you want to maybe change your audience. Maybe you're looking for a specific home buyer, so 25 to, let's say 25 to 50. We can leave the genders the same. We can leave all. You can switch it out to women. I've actually done split testing of advertisements where I've just done it to men or I've just done it for women, and then you can see who in terms of gender responds in a specific way. So you'll note here you've got your potential reach right now. It says over 1 million people, so that's fantastic. But the higher the potential reach doesn't necessarily mean more success. So what you want to do is then you want to go into your demographics. Maybe you want to do something in terms of education. You can do income. So if it's a specific type of luxury home, you want to target people with a specific type of income. So
It is. So let's do 100,000 and up.
okay. So then we want to hit all of the big income sources. So we've got those demographics here. But you can narrow it even further. So you can go back to browse, and then you can say interests, so business or industry, family, relationships. One of the things that I've noticed that a lot of people are doing in terms of they're looking to advertise to people who have fatherhood as an interest. Maybe they have motherhood or parenting because they're looking for
No,
family.
unclick that.
I'm
Unclick.
just saying.
I know, put
I'm just,
married though, because that's, in all seriousness,
okay.
I'd rather
Right.
save the money in people that are in a marriage because it's a big family home.
Right, so then you want to go to behaviors. So there's a bunch of different behaviors here. So you've got residential profiles. This is what I was talking about in terms of you've got length of residence. So you can say people who have lived in the community for a certain amount of time. Maybe people who have lived in a community a certain amount of time are more likely to be looking for a home. Maybe they're done living in their single family residence that they're in, or maybe they've lived there for 3 to 5 years and now they're looking to upgrade to something that's more luxury. You want to advertise to people who are likely to move if it's a property that you're looking to sell. You definitely want to take these other profiles and utilize them with a specific amount of care, because somebody who's just moved isn't necessarily looking to buy a new home. Somebody who's a recent home buyer might not necessarily be looking to buy a new home. Unless, of course, they're an investor. They're a property investor, then you're looking at a completely different type of behavior. And then there's tons of other categories. There's Facebook categories, so different types of things. They're kind of fun to look at, so you just might want to check around. But so then that's how you start to narrow that audience, and now you'll see our potential reach is 440,000 people. And that starts to, let's see if we put it back to all men and women. Okay, so it's 730,000 people is our potential audience. So we can add connection types. So this is what I was talking about in terms of people who like your page, people who respond to your event. One of the things that I've noticed in terms of when we're posting listings for Mike's different real estate listings, people who already like his page tend to share those things when they see the advertisement pop up. So it's okay to not exclude that audience, because if you have a very loyal fan base like Mike does, or you're building that loyal fan base, then you want those fans, those raving fans, to share what you're sharing. So then you want to click to save this audience. So what I just end up doing is I'll say, likely to move SCV, exclude Palmdale. And then you know exactly what that specific audience is that you created it for. A lot of times what people will do is they don't save their audience, and then they're like, oh, I advertised to that one, but I don't remember, and then you have to start all over again. So it's actually a lot easier than a lot of people think it is. You want to set your daily budget. It gives you the option to do a lifetime budget, but I find that when I do a daily budget for a set start date and end date, I'm able to test my audience much, much more accurately. and see what people are specifically responding to much better.
Let's tell them why we really don't do lifetime budget.
Oh, well, because then you end up with like a $700 Facebook advertising bill,
We
and
learned the
people,
hard way.
and then Mike goes, "What's this?" And I'm like, "I don't know what that is. I didn't click send." Um, but so what I'll tend to do is Facebook ads perform really, really well over the weekend, obviously because people are hanging out with their family, and let's face it, we're all on our phones all the time, no matter who's around us on the weekend. I know I am. So you want to look at your start dates specifically. So I consider, in terms of weekend, Thursday is included in my weekend, because that's when you start to see behaviors on Facebook of people who are looking for things to do on the weekend. So if you're searching for an open house to go to, or you're looking for a property, you want to run this through, your specific time. So we can start this in the morning. You can schedule it to start at midnight. You can schedule it different times, and then it gives you an estimate of what you're likely to spend up to. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be your entire spend, but that's what you're likely to spend up to. And then you'll notice here, because we have all of Mike's Facebook stuff connected with this Instagram, that it also gives us the potential reach in terms of video for Instagram as well. So if you haven't yet connected your Instagram, you definitely want to take a look at that. So for this ad, if we run it this weekend from Thursday to Monday, you're likely to spend $20. If you have a bigger ad budget than that, you can do $10, and that's, you're going to notice your estimated daily reach is going to change, and then it's $40 out of your pocket to test things. I like this because what you'll notice is when you're putting together these ads, I've had a lot of people who have started to see ads that I'm placing on different places like Huffington Post and LA Times, LA Weekly, all over the place. So it was actually pretty funny to have somebody send me a screen grab and say, "Oh my gosh, you're spending money on advertising on Huffington Post." And I was like, no, I'm not, but yay. So you want to keep it really simple, links to click on your website. Let Facebook set the bid that gives you the best price. When you enter the manual bid, a lot of times what happens is you end up spending more money than you needed to, and Facebook has gotten a lot better in terms of their algorithm and ranking people and actually giving you a really good turnaround on your investment. And then these things, what I end up doing is the only time that I change the schedule is for specific types of ads. Otherwise, I just leave it the way that it is because it's perfectly fine. And then we go to choose ad creative. And so let's see here. This is for okay. So what this is going to do is this is going to populate some things. You can change all of this stuff. So you don't have to leave this headline the way that it is. You can change this. You can change this. We've got the Instagram account is connected, which means it's going to hit the Instagram feed as well. You can change your call to action. You can do contact us. Okay, so if people want to contact us about this property specifically, so what would you want this headline to be, Mike?
I would say Happy Valley, Newhall. Happy Valley is where it's at. Newhall is the city. And then pool home, cul-de-sac. Watch the aerial footage or something like that. How about that? Aerial footage of this Happy Valley Newhall home.
Okay, we have limited text on this puppy. Happy Valley home.
Aerial view
So
of
that's
Happy
that.
Valley. Something. Is that it?
We can do over here. We can
Okay.
do over here. Aerial view of this Happy Valley Home, located in Newhall, California. So when you start to change that, you can look at the different ways that this will show up for your advertisement. So this is a basic ad. This is not a dark post. Dark posts will show up differently, but it shows you how this is going to show up in the different feeds. One of my favorite things is that you don't have to go to 2 different places to advertise on Instagram, and then it shows, your audience network, how that's going to show up, and then right column display. And then when you're all done, you just click place order. Ta-da!
Pretty cool.
It's very cool. Are we hitting place order?
Yeah, place order. That's a real deal.
That's awesome.
And then we'll do another one that we upload later.
So that in a nutshell is how to create a basic ad on Facebook. If you guys have any other questions or comments or concerns, or you have just completely had your mind blown, you can always email me with questions. Make sure that if you have really specific questions, you can post them in the 10-week social media series, and I can answer them so that everybody can see them. And I think that's it.
So check this out. So you posted that, and we have 22 people reached already. I love it. All right, so the questions that we have are pretty basic. I've answered most of them. The biggest question is, where do I see the replay? That's going to be the Stark and HomeSmart 10-week social media series group on Facebook. The pinned post is our previous webinars, and then we'll post this in just as soon as we get it up. Make sure you guys turn your notifications on, and then we'll be back. Deanna, you and I, what are we talking about next Tuesday?
Oddly enough, we're talking about Periscope next Tuesday.
Good, because everybody got so excited about it. So Periscope next week. I truly believe and predict in the next year, if you're not doing Facebook Live and Periscope, you'll probably be close to being out of business.
Oh, that's a bold prediction.
Mm-hmm. If you want to be super successful. And also, you guys, don't forget 50 pro tips for winning at social media PDF. Download that right now before we hit end on this webinar so you have it. And I think that's about it. You got anything else you want to add?
That's it for me.
All right, guys. Well, we sure appreciate your trust and support for your social media training and real estate agent training as well. We'll see you next Tuesday. Thanks for everything. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.